Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a morning of reflection, contemplation, and meditation. It's my pleasure, first of all, to introduce Father Laurence, but it occurs to me before I do so that I should remind you please to switch off mobile phones, or at the very least turn them to silent. Father Laurence is a well-known and experienced meditator. I'll say a little more about him later in the morning, but in the meantime he's going to lead us in a preliminary meditation to start the morning's events. So, Father Laurence.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. There's a verse from one of the letters of St. Paul that I think all of us, regardless of our tradition, would resonate with this morning. He says, "May your minds be remade and your whole nature thus transformed." May your minds be remade and your whole nature thus transformed. Meditation and our gathering here this morning is part of that process. It doesn't happen in one sitting or in one day. It is a lifetime journey, but it's one of the greatest blessings of our lives to experience, to feel the desire and the need to meditate. Even if we don't know exactly what that involves or why we feel that attraction. The reason it's such a blessing to want to meditate is that it highlights an essential human aspiration, and it gives us a way to fulfill that aspiration. Even if you are a young child, and young children can meditate even better than we can. The aspiration is, whether it's conscious or not, to find ourselves by losing ourselves. And in that sense, all meditation, like all loving, is transcendence. Our rational mind, of course, is rather perplexed by this idea that we find ourselves, that we become ourselves, by losing ourselves, by letting go. But we have to trust to this paradox of the human. We have to trust our deeper mind and enter into a way of being that meditation opens up for us, like a door, like a passage, a way into something that we can't predict or control, and so may even frighten us at times, but where we surprisingly find ourselves at home. And I think a universal sense of the meaning of the experience of meditation is that we come home to ourselves. The work of meditation does this by very powerfully throwing a light of consciousness, upon all the powers of illusion that so easily control us and become our accustomed state, even when we're not aware, or especially when we're not aware that we are in the grip of illusion. And in meditation, we loosen this grip of illusion by a radical simplicity, by the simplicity of being, not controlling, not solving, not predicting, not analyzing, but simply by being. Another term for this is poverty of spirit, corresponding very much to the Buddhist idea of emptiness. At the time of meditation, then, which we will enter into now, we renounce all the riches of thought and imagination. And of course, again, our self-conscious mind, our rational mind, rather protests at this at first, because these riches, we may have taken a long time to acquire them, and we may cling to them like we cling to most possessions. It may seem absurd or impossible to our self-conscious rational mind that we can let go of all the riches of thought and imagination. But the deeper mind will eventually convince us through the fruits of the practice, not by logical argument, but by what the founder of modern scientific method, Bacon, called proof, as experience is the highest degree of proof. So by our own experience, our experience is the teacher, we will discover that we're not wasting our time, but we're actually using time very wisely and usefully. So now, as we lay aside our all thoughts and the whole stream of consciousness that we are swept up with, we radically simplify and unload the baggage of time. And we taste, with the freshness of a child, the simple wonder and the great delight of the present moment. That's what contemplation means, why meditation is a contemplative practice. The word contemplation comes from the Latin contemplum. The word templum doesn't mean this kind of beautiful building, or a mosque, or a temple, or a church, or a synagogue. The word templum originally meant the space in which those structures could be built. It's the spaciousness. Structures rise and fall, just physical structures, or the structures of our mind and imagination. They come and they go over time. But the templum is the spaciousness of the mind, of the heart, which is the real occupation of our meditation. So I'd like to lead us into this time of meditation now. We'll meditate for about 20 minutes in silence and stillness and in simplicity. These are the three active ingredients of meditation. To be silent means we pay attention, single-pointed attention. It means that we are still. The stillness of body during the meditation now will help to bring us to a stillness of mind. And simple, childlike, in which we're not analyzing ourselves or complicating ourselves, but we're simply being ourselves. So there are, of course, in the great traditions, different ways that we can move into this time of meditation and remain steady in it and do the work of attention that is the essential work of meditation. And I'd like to, and you may have your own way of meditation, of course, and you'll naturally practice that. But I'd like to, for those of you who may be new to this, I'd like to share with you a very simple way, which is also a very universal way, which is to take a single word or a short phrase, could be sacred in your own tradition. The word we recommend from our Christian tradition, but it is also a universal sound, is the word Maranatha. The important thing is that whatever word or phrase you take as the mantra, as your sacred word, as your meditation word, you stay with that throughout the time of the meditation. And it's by returning continuously, gently, faithfully to the Word, in this particular way, that we actually do divest ourselves of all the riches of thought and imagination and come into this spacious experience of silence, stillness, and being. So the first thing is to just pay attention to our posture, because our body is very much involved in this. So maybe you'd like to just take a moment to sit upright, with your feet on the ground, but your back straight, not rigid, but upright, alert. You could relax the muscles of your face, relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, so that your body feels both relaxed and alert. Put your hands on your lap or on your knees, or whatever is comfortable, whatever makes you feel at one with mind and body. Close your eyes lightly, and then just be aware of your breathing for a few moments. As we breathe in, accepting the gift of life, we're also being taught this art of meditation, in fact, which we accept the gift of being, but we also let it go as we breathe out. And it's this cycle, this rhythm of accepting and renouncing that is at the heart of our meditation as well. As you pay attention to your breathing, you are beginning to take the attention off your thoughts, off that stream of thought, imagination, memory, prediction, analysis, and of course, all the many forms of illusion. And then I'd suggest you gently introduce your word or mantra, and repeat this word gently, without force, patiently, without demands, attentively, and faithfully, in the sense that we keep returning to the word whenever we find ourselves distracted. We'll time the meditation with this gong. Oop. We'll do it this way.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and also Father Laurence.